Well, we have additional details that have been released in relation to the alleged chaos that has ensued since Joseph here was arrested between the Duggar family and Kendra's family, the Caldwells. Before I jump in, a major trigger warning. If you aren't aware, he was arrested last month because, according to reports, a 14-year-old came forward, said that when she was 9, he touched her inappropriately. Arkansas police arrested him because apparently he said, yep, I did it. They sent him to Florida. There he got a $600,000 bond. She only had to pay 10%. Who's she? Kendra. Kendra here apparently made sure to kick her family out of the home that they lived in because it was their home. She's trying to rent that home out. Then she apparently sold a trailer, a 4-wheeler, tools to make sure she got that $60K to get her man out of jail. Now, according to Amy Paul, which is a family friend of the Caldwells, she is sharing specifically the Caldwells were the ones that had to report Joseph Duggar because he was not man enough to admit what he had done. And that for that reason, they are being forced out of the home that they have lived in for years that is owned by Kendra and Joseph. And Joseph's family is trying to retaliate against them, make sure that they turn Kendra against the Caldwells. She goes on to specifically state she was appalled at the lack of Christian charity that is being shown to the Caldwells. They were put in an awful situation after having to turn in their son-in-law, but also kicking them out of the house and giving them 30 days to get out. That the power and water was turned off when other kids lived there, specifically 8 kids are living there, and that all of a sudden DHS was called on them for abuse. She said, I wonder who called. Now, one Duggar is helping them move or asking for help. No one has reached out. She says, look, they share 4 grandkids. Now is not the time for them to be throwing stones to supposedly rally around Joseph Duggar, who is not a victim. They should be rallying around the victim and their family. Now, the Duggars' close family friend said, absolutely not today. In fact, she goes on to share that the Duggars have essentially been taking care of the Caldwells for years. They lived in a Duggar home rent-free for years more than it was originally offered. They allegedly took advantage of the Duggars' kindness because they literally made sure they had everything that they needed all those years. After they lived in that home rent-free, they then move into a home that Joe and Kendra have built to flip. They stayed there rent-free for 2+ years, all while Joe and Kendra kept urging them to please move out. They were trying to sell the home. And finally, after being told to move out and were given a date, all of a sudden, that's when they called the police and they reported him. Now, again, the Caldwells made a statement saying that, they are saddened by everything that is happening between Joseph and what transpired with the victim, and that, they're there to support the victim. Paul finalized it with saying, look, do the right thing, help your extended family from the abuse and trauma your son has caused. This is chaos, nothing new. The Duggars are dirty as hell. We already know that. Talk to you soon.